Hello. In this video, we're going to look at simplifying rational expressions. So we have x squared minus 11x plus 30 over x squared plus 4x minus 45. So here, all we need to do is reduce this fraction. And just like when you're reducing fractions in arithmetic, what we want to do here is find all the factors, see if we have any common factors, and then divide out those common factors. So we need to factor everything. So these x squared minus 11x plus 30, that has a leading coefficient of 1, so we are only looking for factors of 30 that add to negative 11, and that's going to be, that plus sign tells us that those factors are going to be the same. The minus sign tells us that they're going to be negative. So the two numbers that multiply and give us 30 and add and give us negative 11 are negative 5 and negative 6. So our factors are going to be x minus 5 over x minus 6. In the denominator, we have x squared plus 4x minus 45. The factors of negative 45 that add to 4. The minus sign tells us their signs are going to be different, and the bigger one is going to be a 4. And so the numbers we're looking at here are going to be 9 and 5. So positive 9, negative 5. We see that we do have a common factor of x minus 5. So what we want to do is divide both top and bottom by x minus 5 so that those will divide out. And that leaves us with x minus 6 over x plus 9. Remember that we cannot divide anything out that we cannot factor out. So we couldn't divide out x's or 3's in this final one here because we cannot factor them out of everything in that part of the fraction. All right, now let's look at the second example. Here we are dividing fractions. When you're multiplying and dividing fractions, it's one simple step before we get to where we started the last example. So here we have the fraction 7x minus 21 all over 5 divided by the fraction 5x minus 15 all over 7. And the way that I remember this, when you're dividing fractions, you want to keep, change, flip. Now this only works if you have a fraction divided by a fraction, a single fraction divided by a single fraction. You're going to have to get a common denominator, which we'll look at in a future video, if you don't have a single fraction divided by a single fraction. All right, so we're going to keep the first one, so it will be 7x minus 21 all over 5. We're going to change the division to multiplication, and then we're going to flip the second fraction. Flip the second fraction. And so we get 7 over 5x minus 15. Now when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply straight across, so this will be 7x minus 21 times 7 and 5 times 5x minus 15. Now we're where we started on our last one. We want to see if we have any common factors and factor this out. So let's factor out, we've got a GCF on the top, 7x minus 21. We can factor out a 7 from there, and we'll be left with x minus 3. We still have the 7 that's also multiplied from our second numerator. In the denominator, we're going to have the 5 that came from our first denominator, and then we have another GCF, 5x minus 15. We can factor out a 5, and we'll be left with x minus 3. So we have a common factor of x minus 3. We can divide that out on top and bottom. And then what's left, 7 times 7 is 49, and 5 times 5 is 25. All right, I'll see you guys next time.